This book has been out for a few years now, and it's really good, all the secrets of how to live cheaply and healthily and happily. And this one's got vastly more still. It's got a DVD that you just wouldn't believe how much. I call it Dr. Pat's Awesome Library. So grab it while you can. Just phone me up sometime. Well, we're in Macleay Island, gorgeous art gallery, the first bit of culture we've shown in these episodes so far, 10 so far. This is number 11, and this is a very original creations, and some of them worth quite a fortune. I'm about to talk about on my 1820 free tested inventions, discoveries, and challenging practical philosophies for anybody about almost anything useful, but enjoy while you can. We have many theatres, music groups, all sorts of things on the island. It's not a cultural desert at all. Anti-gravity flipping wheel. Over decades I've straightened out kinky scientists, and now this extremely simple concept in several varieties came to mind on a 5th of 10th of 2011. It's most amenable to maths. Incredibly, theory shows that at rotation of only 2 revolutions a second, and if you swing a stone round your head, that's about once a second, it can lift 10 times its weight. Double the revs per second and it lifts 40 times its weight, or even 4 times smaller radius. Already we've started prototyping different versions with primitive workshop facilities and evolved a manually working model. Meccano being ideal, and using old CD discs quite helpful. Related slides below and video clip follows. The model date on the newspaper is 11th of the 10th month 2011. Swivel top weight eases to flip when horizontal. We've been working on anti-gravity, which sounds a bit silly after decades of science, but you see, if I let this go, this is going around about 1 a second, it would just take off to the ceiling. But it stays in my hand because the bit going over the bottom has got to be cancelled. It's got to be, as we call it, rotationally rectified, like a rectifier in electricity. So here's a weight there, and this can just keep on going with a motor that's attached to this. These are not very good Meccano gears. I haven't used Meccano since about the wartime, but this will rotate this like that if a motor's on the end there, and it'll go like that. But as soon as it gets to that position, we have a way of, or working on a way of getting it flipped over to this position, and this keeps on going in the same direction. It doesn't look like it is, but it really is going in the same direction, and the flip has to be very fast. But these will only go about, need to go about twice every second or so, and it has an enormous amount of lift. If we double the speed, it would take 40 times. This could lift 40 times its own weight. Now you could say, well, it's a lot of effort to rotate that, but not, because this has its own little axis. So this, if we rotate it like that and that way, it just stays where it is in space that way. So it's easy to rotate this thing. And here's some other ways of rotating it. We've got this little thing here, a toggle, Made out of Meccano. This one's another toggle that we're working on that one. Now this is a much earlier, in fact years earlier scheme, and it's meant to go like that, and it rectifies the revolutions. It doesn't go down below, and you can imagine how if these should go that way like that, then that'll be showing that we have got a pull vertically, if this is placed vertically like that. This is just a way of doing that, and I haven't got it oriented well, but this handle goes at half the speed that these go. These go at twice the speed of the handle, like that, you see. And this little thing on the end here was an indication that it's working as an anti-gravity thing, very briefly. I'm about to pull this apart and make a better one so that these two are beside each other, and a little electric drill, a tiny electric drill, would do the action of swinging those. So I invented that one, decades ago, probably about 30 years ago, and didn't do much about it, but I have tried by standing on scales like that, doing that very quickly, or that way. This way it makes you lighter, that way a bit heavier. Those people who are too fat, just keep on doing that. Small fruit picker container. We stand up picking and drop mulberries into indispensable, possibly trivial plastic canister shown with rope loop from handle around my neck, yet easily carried when full on the bike. Original container probably had pooled chemicals. Solar drying. Simple blackened roast pan or baking dish solar dries kilos of fruit. Lengthwise cut bananas is a wow. Vegetables, meat and fish, or produces delicious fruit leathers, they call it, in 2 to 3 days. Cellophane wrapped around edges is pegged down on upwind side and 2 adjacent sides when windy, showing a side view above. Or pegged on 2 sides and peg as spacer bar under plastic ends when calm, because gentle flapping plastic allows moisture to escape easily, but open more if condensation appears under the plastic. Pan sits on a solar heated black metal surface such as water tank or vehicle roof, or on grass or foam insulation. Heat should always deter ants, so place the whole lot inside at night against bugs. Bits, wits, twits and winery, fast way coding, a counting system with many applications far more condensed than binary. This is my 1971 invention, involves way counting, way counter bits I call wits, conceivably counted electronically via tri-state flip-flap-flop or whip-whap-wop elements, cautiously labelled twits, consuming far less power than binary. Winery can be about 30% faster and juggled by simple maths. I can convert to and from any base, but long divide still bothers us a bit. All rational wits are represented by a geometric series of 3. 243, 81, 9, 3, 1, 1/3, 1/9, 1/27th, instead of 2 like binary. Weights or wits on either pan balances an unknown, count weight x, where wit plus is a 9 is added to the right pan, and wits minus is a 1 and a 3 are subtracted on the left. So you better look at the screen for this, it's a bit too hard to say it. Decimal points and fractions have wit analogies. This was presented at conferences where mathematicians couldn't see my humour, although it's genuine. A logic simplifies Boolean symbolic logic and truth tables. Algebraic logic or Our logic, with simple, usually 0-1 value algebraic expressions, is easily understood at senior school level, is an oft easier and enjoyable Boolean logic alternative. Again, you'd have to see the screen to study the screen, record what you can, or we can send you how this all works. A rather curious surprise though, x to the power of n, where x is some of the logic values, algebraic values, x to the power of n is x for variable x and any integer n. Maths algorithm computer library, it just started like 50s and 60s. It won my 1981 science doctorate, being 30 to 100 times cheaper than others, 20 times easier, and 95% it's my own software. It easily solves mixed groups of systems of linear or nonlinear algebraic, ordinary differential equations, boundary value, and implicit equation to any order with exotic driving functions. Apparently someone invents such about every 150 years. I conceived 3 methods in about 4 years. I think it's mostly come from above all this stuff. I can't figure it out when I look back on it. Regarding my just mentioned Mal, to rough quote Scientific American, September 88, who quoted me, and that's normal, so if you're not malcontent and need maladjusting through malpractice, let us assist with some fine malfunctioning maltreatment from the maladministrator. In using malgorithms, you're first advised to malpractice this manual. Mal couldn't be as goofy as Palm's NAG library synonym. NAG is Numerical Algorithms Group. Animal and bird's quickest escape route. After loads of observing, I note animals or birds on my walk or bike path almost always escape at about 45 degrees from my direction, a fact I still have to confirm by mathematically modelling a quickest route. Forest restoration in edible home forests. Reforest with multi-use edible trees of tall lumber like mango, olive, mulberry, locust, nuts, avocado, and natives. Soon some loggers become pickers. Later, some of those become loggers of thin, close, automatically recoverable strips. 3,000 years ago, the Bible insisted we not overgraze, overstock, or overpopulate the land. For unconventional crops and stocks, see my book, Ecologistics. If one must have pine forests, then import Russian edible game bird, Caprasalia, that eats pine needles, or the great spotted woodpecker to enjoy pine cones and nutcracker to eat cone seeds. Some edible birds and animals in the Amazon trees change forest attitudes positive into respect. Governments, instead of encouraging and farming our wildlife, kill off and ban free and productive resources, scarcely an option in a desert nation about the size of America that we are. 1979 solar shower. Matte black garden hosepipe coil spiral on 2-inch foam insulation, usually without plastic cover. First water fill and solar heat before showering with tap on slow. Shower end can lead back into the kitchen or bathroom, etc. for other hot water use. It's okay even in Britain. 1978 tiny wood stove, efficient stick or small log stove equals water and space heater and cooker made from 3-gallon nut, biscuit or olive can. Preheated air from external door slot for smokeless after burning. Heard of cute little chip heaters sitting in a bath surrounded by water? They seem to have them in Victorian times. Hotter solar oven. Half right-angled cone gives sun line focus along a narrow black glazed strip, otherwise heavily insulated box to well-heated food inside. Other half conic could likewise be mounted on the left side of the box. Figure your own non-spill method. This and other solar cookers can heat a thermal liquid peanut oil for nighttime cooking. Instant hot shower. Bush folk love it. Cold water trickles or sprays onto galvanized iron channels. Heat-proof insulation over the galvo keeps out leaves and bird droppings. Sauna bath from junk. Note 44-gallon oil drum sections meet. Cut the drum at central ridge and put one section on top of the reverse end and other section so only thin layer contained by the lip is boiled to steam for the tiny tank is insulated by brush or sacks of patients above. It was the Vanuatu Jungle Clinic with Dr. L. Wolfson, including my Quonset hut design, finding harbourside hot spring and Navajo spinal adjusting. Yanks, etc. trade weapons to those who shoot back. Obviously, Greek Greed overcomes all else. Revolting to see Yanks justify battle against whom they had earlier armed. America created its own enemies on a TV 2004 show, e.g. Saddam had deadly gas, used American equipment to kill Kurds and other weapons of mass destruction, etc. The Taliban, Hitler, Stalin, Sandinistas, Iranians, Koreans, Vietnamese, Cuba, Mafia, Italians, Israelis, Latins. The Italians were on our side in the First World War. Chinese, Japanese, a very long list that economists sadly enjoy. Youngest professional Christian son in the US Air Force was heavily involved, albeit now thankfully resigned. Foot, leg, socks and boot washing. Wash these together if you fill gumboots, wellies, etc. with water. By the time you walk home from gardening after 10 minutes, remove the boots and ditch the water. You're clean. Easy for aged and infirm. Small chemist foot skin scrapers proved inadequate, so I use a fine cheese grater. It's great. Calibrate markets to save hundreds of dollars weekly. Calculator reduces all prices to dollars per kilogram or dollars per litre, but big packets are not always the cheapest per kilogram per litre. Have clipboard and usable pen alphabetical chart of anticipated items, including banks, repairs, investments. On entering a store, put some stuff into trolley to allay suspicion. Then amble up each aisle, jotting on the chart cheapest the dollar per kilogram items. Usually genetic home brands and bargains, noting that supermarkets seldom are cheap for fruit, fish, bread and sausages. At the next market, likewise note lower and ignore higher prices. Usually unprocessed, unpackaged food is cheapest though. Things like tomatoes are often the other way around. A chart can be updated or easily loaded to a simple computer database. Publish your price list to help folk avoid inflation because the government won't. Copulation communication. Secret communications are open to couples during relaxed intercourse, as I discovered in UK with scientific colleague Judy 50 years back, consisting of the female picking up male's controlled small spasms, or he receiving her controlled sphincter contractions. Thus a bidirectional 1 Hz Morse code bandwidth data rate link is available, very slow. Mutual masturbation, hand-holding, tongue-kissing and other sexual activities open up further crypto-secure Morse code communication channels, so engineers need develop no further. How about a milky doll? A pregnant milking Barbie seems appropriate to young teen expecting mums these days, particularly since pukers and pisser dolls are readily available. Interesting erotic research. In an earlier episode, just as women have tried to or shown me how they managed to suck their own nipples, so childless Ellen was proud to show without my prompting how she shyly put a thumb and 4 fingers up herself. Others and mothers accept an entire small female fist up them. Acrobats have reportedly reached their own. I only had to get off my bike, meet my lovely, huge academic and monumentally boobed Maggie, distinguished by regular dining at Cambridge University high tables, squeeze her nipples, and she'd drag me into the bedroom, rip off both our clothes and carry on. Despite being a hardcore feminist leader, she always got our breakfast in bed. Ideal all-bed ecology. During 7 fabulous southwest Cornwall years in admittedly mild winters, we'd be in bed soon after sunset, surrounded by projects, computer, teas made, meals, TV, books, cuddles, phone and games. Visiting friends had a beanbag circle for reclining, covered by huge circular doona and centre hot water bottle. All very friendly. But how to stay warm till then without wood stove? Best house solar heater was glass veranda enclosing matte black painted masonry. This heated air, and via top and bottom internal door slots, rapidly circulated warm air through the home. Media promoted in my large windows, bed ecology in warm Brisbane. Architects ignore these, our old essentials. Stunning views via veranda avoids usually boring bedroom claustrophobia. recession under false pretenses. Investment companies and banks, ICBs I call it, for years entice hard-earned life savings or pension with delicious monthly percentage without cost from lending your money to developers, etc., hinting at superficial risk or omitting big risks. Then the executives suddenly realize, hey, we've got it made. Creamed our billions with no laws or incentive to keep us bastards straight. So let's collude with other ICBs to pretend massive global recession, which, egged on by gleeful media, generate monumental excuses for global anarchy rip-offs, pleading poverty, poor dears, and never pay interest or return the funds, or at best a tiny pittance. Executive castles, yachts, limos, jewels, ex-jets, untouchable by the law. Finally, falsely panicked governments, probably in collusion, instead of propping us up, see fit to prop already filthy rich ICBs with billions of our filched funds, besides encouraging executives to continue drawing millions of dollars salary indefinitely, whilst borrowers still pay. Legitimate highway robbery. Personally, we find the answer is being independent, self-sufficient, and entirely solar, with garden-buried funds. Moreover, if payments ever resume, there's no certainty they will continue. Sadistic sport fishing. Scots scientists proved hook fish are in real agony. Moronical sport fishing assumes no feelings, despite mouths too hacked to forage. Wild thrashing shows excruciating pain. New Scientist 35/2003, page 14, confirms hooks hurt fish, yet fish are often dedicated parents for months. Salmon navigate vast distances to care for their family. Demoiselles go days a courting. Have dumb animals no feeling, communication or emotion? Thus stop revolting the sport of fishing under strict RSPCA laws. Publishing sports bots must also halt, plus bragging media programs and sadistic ha-ha competitions. Bag limits must be set on nettable table fish. There were 28,500 fish species. Pity fisher folk lack fishy feelings. The New Scientist of 12/6/2004, page 41 to 43, by hundreds of fish experts show sensitivity, tools, cognitive ability, long memory, survival, ingenuity, self-sufficiency, navigation, reason, cooperation to inspect predators and find food, trade, problem solve, IQ, complex behavior, relationships, training, social status analysis, manipulation and punishment and reconciliation, stable cultural relations, data transfer between individuals and generations, opposite sex show-off, wrasse fish, home building, even nightly, food farms and gardens. Also record keeping with fantastic spatial memory using polarized light, sound, smell, visuals and electronic magnetic cues. And the best we can do is go and hack their mouths to pieces and kill them off. 21. Rules of memory joggers. I was actually commissioned to do this. Little boys buy coconuts on Friday and naughty Margaret always says, pass the sugar Claude. Stop me if you've heard all this. It's the first and second chemical table element rows, ignoring helium and hydrogen. Stalactites come down, stalagmites climb up. Oh, be a fine girl, kiss me. That's the Hartsprung Russell Star Temperature Guide. FACE is music lines, of course. There must be hundreds of these, but I could only put a few of them on. West is best as plus, and east is least as minus magnetic map variation. TAGC is the DNA code, so you'll have to make your own acronym for that. Finger knuckles together, and you can count the ones that are sticking up, and they go for 31 days, and the one going, the U between the knuckles is going down, but the fourth knuckle and the fifth knuckle on the next hand, they go together, and that way you can remember the days in the month. So the top ones are 31 days for the knuckles, and the space in between it shows where the two are joined. Port wine is red, meaning left, with 4 letters, and right is starboard green. In wartime they used Welsh, Cornish or poems for spy codes. Reef knot is left over right, right over the left. Lenses left-hand law gives a motion for current versus magnetic direction. The right-hand law for generators. Lightning to thunder delay in seconds is divided by 3 for the distance in kilometres to the lightning strike. Multiply the speed in kilometres per hour by 0.6 and you get miles per hour pretty accurately. Planet order. Matt visits every Monday, just stays until noon, period being Pluto. And into Titan nuts, this would be especially good for a lot of people. Think, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Literally hundreds of electronic circuits I've already rapidly invented because of my database and patented over decades here, America and UK, taken from decades circuit database that are too complex to describe here. You can see some of them, the very simple ones here, even though often simple themselves. Likewise, maths, engineering, physics and computer algorithms. Many creations were in America whence President Ike Eisenhower personally helped us to migrate there in 1958. Again, we truly appreciate you all. All this, once again, mentioned as Sustainable Home Engineering, SHE for short. Check us out sometime. Well, here we have the other side of the Macleay Island culture. In fact, the other side of the art gallery, which happens to be right on the water, and full of paintings of quite famous, keeps a lot of people busy and sells quite often, has a lot of big shows here. Next week I'd like to cover some of my awesome publications and very dangerous, gruesome data. So stay with us.